On a chilly autumn afternoon in New York City, the streets buzzed with life. Tourists snapped photos in Times Square while yellow cabs honked in the distance. Among the hustle, a small figure sat quietly on the sidewalk near Central Park. Her name was Lily Morgan, an 11-year-old girl with paint-streaked fingers and a heart full of dreams. Lily wasn't like most kids her age. While others worried about homework and school dances, she worried about hospital bills. Just a year ago, she had been diagnosed with leukemia. The treatments were expensive, too expensive for her single mom, Rachel, who juggled 2 jobs but still couldn't make ends meet. Yet Lily had something special, an extraordinary talent for painting. With every brushstroke, she poured out her feelings, hope, fear, love, all onto the canvas. When the doctors told her she needed another round of chemotherapy, Lily knew she couldn't let her mother carry the burden alone. So she decided to do the only thing she could, sell her paintings. That's how she found herself on the cold sidewalk, setting up a makeshift art display. A cardboard sign read, "Beautiful paintings, help me fight cancer." People walked by, some glancing curiously, others too busy to notice. Despite the chill biting at her fingers, Lily smiled at every passerby. Each painting told a story, a sunset she dreamed of seeing, a garden filled with flowers she hoped to run through, and a golden moon shimmering over the sea. Each painting carried a piece of her heart. Rachel sat nearby, watching her daughter with a mix of pride and heartbreak. "You don't have to do this, sweetheart," she had said that morning, brushing Lily's honey blonde hair. "But I want to help," Lily insisted, her green eyes shining with determination. "Every little bit counts, right?" Hours passed, and though a few kind souls bought small pieces, they barely made a dent in the looming medical bills. Still, Lily refused to give up. She knew every brushstroke mattered. As the sun dipped low, casting an orange-pink glow over the city, Lily sighed and picked up her favorite painting, a canvas depicting a man sitting alone on a bench, his face lit by the warm light of a street lamp. She had called it The Lonely Gentleman, a portrait inspired by the quiet figures she sometimes saw in the park. A tear welled up in her eye. Maybe today wasn't the day. Maybe no one would buy it. But just as she was about to pack up, a curious murmur rippled through the crowd. Someone was coming. And not just anyone. It was a man with a familiar, unmistakable walk, half waddle, half hop, and a face known worldwide. It was Mr. Bean. Or rather, Rowan Atkinson, the comedic genius behind the beloved, bumbling character. Lily's mouth fell open in disbelief. What was he doing here? The crowd began to gather, their phones raised to capture the moment. Rowan Atkinson, dressed in a simple brown coat and scarf, paused mid-step and tilted his head, eyeing Lily's display with childlike curiosity. For a moment, Lily froze. Of all the people to stop by, she never expected the man who had made millions laugh without saying a word. Rowan knelt down, examining the paintings with quiet reverence. His eyes softened as he took in the beauty of her work. Then his gaze settled on The Lonely Gentleman. "This one," he said softly, his voice smooth and warm. "It speaks to me." Lily blinked. You like it?" He nodded slowly. "It reminds me of someone I know." His lips curled into a smile that crinkled the edges of his eyes. "How much?" Lily hesitated, feeling her heart pound in her chest. "It's $500, she whispered. It was more than she'd ever asked for a painting, but this one was special. Rowan didn't flinch. Instead, he reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a worn leather wallet. Without a word, he handed her a crisp $500 bill. Tears pricked Lily's eyes. "Thank you," she breathed. But Rowan wasn't finished. He stood up, turned to the crowd, and in his signature Mr. Bean style, wide-eyed and with dramatic flair, announced, "Let's not stop here. Who else wants to help this brave young lady?" The crowd erupted in applause. And that was just the beginning. Lily clutched the crisp $500 bill in her trembling fingers, hardly believing what had just happened. Rowan Atkinson, Mr. Bean, not only bought her favorite painting but also rallied the crowd to support her. The murmurs grew louder as more people stepped forward, their curiosity now replaced by kindness. A young couple, holding hands, leaned over to admire Lily's artwork. "These are incredible," the woman said, brushing her dark hair behind her ear. "I'll take the sunset one." Lily's heart leapt. "That's $100, she said, her voice soft but steady. Without hesitation, the man pulled out his wallet and handed her the money. "Keep the change," he added, pressing a $200 bill into her hand. Tears threatened to spill as the warmth of their generosity washed over her. Every dollar meant another chance at getting better, another step toward easing her mother's worries. Rowan Atkinson remained nearby, his presence like a magnet drawing more onlookers. He knelt down again beside Lily's paintings and picked up a smaller canvas, a delicate painting of a butterfly perched on a daisy. This one, he mused, tilting his head in his classic Mr. Bean style. It's lovely. What's the story behind it? Lily's throat tightened. I painted it after my first chemo, she explained quietly. The butterfly, it's how I want to feel. Free. Like nothing's holding me down. For a moment, Rowan's playful demeanor softened into something deeply human. His eyes glistened as he nodded. It's beautiful. And so are you, he said, slipping the painting carefully into a bag. I'm keeping this one for myself. Lily couldn't stop the tears now. Thank you so much. More people lined up, eager to buy her paintings, not just because of Rowan's involvement, but because they were genuinely moved by Lily's courage. A woman in a business suit wiped tears from her eyes as she handed over $300 for a painting of a moonlit ocean. You're an inspiration, she whispered. Don't ever stop painting. Within an hour, Lily's once full display was almost empty. Rachel, who had been quietly watching from a distance, stepped forward, her face a mixture of awe and gratitude. She knelt beside her daughter, brushing a stray lock of hair from Lily's face. I'm so proud of you, she whispered, her voice cracking with emotion. Lily squeezed her mother's hand, the weight of the moment sinking in. For the first time in months, hope felt within reach. As the crowd began to thin, Rowan Atkinson stood up and straightened his coat. He turned to Lily one last time. You have a gift, he said gently, and the world needs to see it. Before Lily could respond, he reached into his coat pocket and pulled out something unexpected, a check. With a quick flourish, he signed it and handed it over. Lily's eyes widened as she read the amount, $10,000. Rachel gasped audibly, her hand flying to her mouth. Mr. Atkinson, this is too much. He shook his head, a soft smile playing on his lips. No child should have to fight alone, he said simply. This is the least I can do. Lily threw her arms around him, hugging him tightly. Thank you, she whispered into his shoulder. He chuckled softly, patting her back in the awkward yet sweet way only Mr. Bean could. You're very welcome. With a final nod to the remaining crowd, Rowan Atkinson disappeared into the bustling streets, leaving behind a little girl whose life had just changed forever. Rachel knelt beside her daughter, tears streaming freely down her face. Sweetheart, she said, her voice thick with emotion. You just raised more in one afternoon than I ever thought possible. Lily's lips quivered as a smile broke through. Does this mean I can keep fighting? Rachel nodded, holding her daughter tightly. Yes, baby, you can keep fighting. And for the first time in a long while, the future didn't seem so scary. But the miracles weren't over yet. The night air turned crisp as the last rays of sunlight faded behind the New York skyline. Lily and Rachel packed up the remaining canvases, their hearts still racing from the day's unexpected turn. The weight of worry that had pressed on Rachel's shoulders for months suddenly felt lighter, thanks to the kindness of strangers and the generosity of a man known for making the world laugh. As they gathered their things, a man in a navy blue coat approached them. His silver hair glinted beneath the streetlights, and he carried a leather briefcase. Excuse me, he said, his voice warm but professional. I couldn't help but notice the crowd and your remarkable artwork. I'm Samuel Porter, director of the Hudson Art Gallery. Rachel blinked in surprise. An art gallery? Yes, he smiled, glancing down at the few remaining paintings. These pieces, they're not just beautiful. They tell a story. I'd like to feature your work in a charity exhibit next month. Lily's eyes widened. Really? Me? Samuel chuckled softly. Yes, you. I think your story, your strength could inspire so many others. And, he added, his voice growing softer, all proceeds from your paintings would go directly to your medical fund. Lily turned to her mother, barely able to contain her excitement. Rachel knelt down, tears brimming again as she cupped her daughter's face. What do you think, sweetheart? Lily nodded enthusiastically. I'd love to. Samuel handed them his business card. We'll be in touch soon. And Miss Lily, he said, smiling, you're going to change lives. As he walked away, Lily clutched the card tightly in her small hands. She had started the day wondering if anyone would even notice her paintings. Now, she was going to be part of a real art exhibit. Felt like a dream. Rachel squeezed her daughter's hand as they began the walk home. You're amazing, she whispered. Lily giggled softly. Well, I had a little help from Mr. Bean. They laughed together, the tension that had shadowed their lives for so long finally beginning to lift. The following weeks flew by in a blur of doctor's appointments, schoolwork, and hours spent painting in their tiny apartment. Lily poured her heart into each canvas, dreamy landscapes, whimsical animals, and scenes inspired by her battle with leukemia. The pain and fatigue from chemotherapy couldn't hold back her spirit. With every brushstroke, she imagined a future where she was healthy, where she and her mother wouldn't have to worry about hospital bills. Rachel, meanwhile, worked tirelessly to support her daughter's dreams. She often stayed up late, helping Lily prime canvases or package finished pieces for the gallery. Every time exhaustion crept in, she remembered Rowan Atkinson's kindness and the flood of strangers who had offered their support. They weren't alone anymore. When the day of the Hudson Art Gallery exhibit arrived, Lily could hardly sit still. Dressed in a simple lavender dress, her favorite color, she stood beside Rachel, both of them in awe at the transformation of the space. Her paintings hung proudly along the walls, each one accompanied by a small card that told her story. Lily Morgan, age 11. Fighting leukemia one brushstroke at a time. Guests filtered in, murmuring in admiration as they moved from piece to piece. Some even wiped away tears as they read about Lily's journey. And then, just as Lily was about to take a break, there was a familiar stir near the entrance. Rowan Atkinson had returned. This time, he wasn't alone. Beside him stood several famous faces, actors, artists, and media personalities, all drawn by his call to action. And when Lily spotted a TV news crew setting up their cameras, her breath hitched. Rowan grinned as he made his way over to her. "I told you the world needed to see your gift," he said, his voice warm and familiar. "And it looks like the world showed up." Lily threw her arms around him in a joyful hug. "I can't believe you came." "Of course," he chuckled. "I had to see my favorite artist's big night." As the evening wore on, painting after painting sold, some for thousands of dollars. By the end of the night, Lily had raised more than $75,000, enough to cover her next rounds of chemotherapy and help other children fighting similar battles. When the final guest left and the lights dimmed, Rachel knelt beside her daughter, overwhelmed by the miracle they had experienced. "You did it, Lily," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "You didn't just paint, you gave us hope." Lily leaned against her mother, her heart full. "I think Mr. Bean gave us a little hope too." Rachel laughed softly through her tears. "Yes, baby? And so did you." But even then, Lily had no idea that one more surprise still awaited her. A week after the Hudson Art Gallery exhibit, life felt different, but in the best way possible. The weight of hospital bills no longer loomed over Lily and Rachel. For the first time in months, laughter filled their tiny apartment again. Lily's paintings had done more than raise money, they had given them both a renewed sense of purpose and hope. One rainy afternoon, as Lily sat by the window sketching, her phone buzzed. It was an unknown number. Rachel, drying dishes nearby, glanced over with curiosity. "Should we answer it?" Lily asked, holding the phone cautiously. Rachel nodded. "Might be someone from the gallery." Lily pressed the green button. "Hello?" A smooth British voice replied. "Is this Miss Lily Morgan?" "Yes," Lily's brow furrowed. "Who's this?" "This is Eleanor Blake. I'm Mr. Atkinson's personal assistant," the woman explained. "He wanted me to check in on you both." "How are you doing?" Lily beamed. "I'm doing great. My mom says my blood counts are better and I'm painting every day." "That's wonderful to hear," Eleanor said warmly. "Actually, Mr. Atkinson has one more surprise for you if you're up for it." Lily's heart raced. "A surprise? What kind of surprise?" "Well," Eleanor paused for dramatic effect. "Would you like to visit London?" The phone nearly slipped from Lily's hand. "London? For real?" Rachel, overhearing the conversation, froze in disbelief. "London," she mouthed silently. "Yes, for real?" Eleanor chuckled. "Mr. Atkinson is hosting a private charity gala next month. He wants to feature you as a guest of honor if you're feeling well enough to travel." Lily's face lit up. "I'm totally feeling well enough." Rachel's hand found her heart, overwhelmed by this new act of kindness. "We'd love to come," she said softly. "Please thank Mr. Atkinson, he's done more for us than we could ever repay." "Consider it done," Eleanor replied. "You'll receive all the travel details soon. Get ready, Lily, London awaits." As the call ended, Lily squealed in excitement. "Mom, can you believe it? We're going to London." Rachel pulled her daughter into a warm embrace, tears glistening in her eyes. "You deserve every bit of this, sweetheart. After everything you've been through, this is your moment." The weeks leading up to the trip passed in a joyful blur. Between school, treatments, and painting, Lily and Rachel barely had time to pack their suitcases. The night before their flight, Lily couldn't sleep, her mind buzzed with excitement. When their plane touched down at Heathrow Airport, they were greeted by a chauffeur holding a sign that read, "Welcome, Lily Morgan, our star artist." Lily giggled. "I feel like a celebrity." "You are a celebrity," Rachel smiled, marveling at how far their journey had come. A week after the Hudson Art Gallery exhibit, life felt different, but in the best way possible. The weight of hospital bills no longer loomed over Lily and Rachel. For the first time in months, laughter filled their tiny apartment again. Lily's paintings had done more than raise money, they had given them both a renewed sense of purpose and hope. One rainy afternoon, as Lily sat by the window sketching, her phone buzzed. It was an unknown number. Rachel, drying dishes nearby, glanced over with curiosity. "Should we answer it?" Lily asked, holding the phone cautiously. Rachel nodded. "Might be someone from the gallery." Lily pressed the green button. "Hello?" A smooth British voice replied, "Is this Miss Lily Morgan?" "Yes," Lily's brow furrowed. "Who's this?" "This is Eleanor Blake. I'm Mr. Atkinson's personal assistant," the woman explained. "He wanted me to check in on you both." "How are you doing?" Lily beamed. "I'm doing great. My mom says my blood counts are better and I'm painting every day." "That's wonderful to hear," Eleanor said warmly. "Actually, Mr. Atkinson has one more surprise for you if you're up for it." Lily's heart raced. "A surprise? What kind of surprise?" "Well," Eleanor paused for dramatic effect. "Would you like to visit London?" The phone nearly slipped from Lily's hand. "London? For real?" Rachel, overhearing the conversation, froze in disbelief. "London," she mouthed silently. "Yes, for real?" Eleanor chuckled. "Mr. Atkinson is hosting a private charity gala next month. He wants to feature you as a guest of honor if you're feeling well enough to travel." Lily's face lit up. "I'm totally feeling well enough." Rachel's hand found her heart, overwhelmed by this new act of kindness. "We'd love to come," she said softly. "Please thank Mr. Atkinson, he's done more for us than we could ever repay." "Consider it done," Eleanor replied. "You'll receive all the travel details soon. Get ready, Lily, London awaits." As the call ended, Lily squealed in excitement. "Mom, can you believe it? We're going to London." Rachel pulled her daughter into a warm embrace, tears glistening in her eyes. "You deserve every bit of this, sweetheart. After everything you've been through, this is your moment." The weeks leading up to the trip passed in a joyful blur. Between school, treatments, and painting, Lily and Rachel barely had time to pack their suitcases. The night before their flight, Lily couldn't sleep, her mind buzzed with excitement. When their plane touched down at Heathrow Airport, they were greeted by a chauffeur holding a sign that read, "Welcome, Lily Morgan, our star artist." Lily giggled. "I feel like a celebrity." The car whisked them through London's bustling streets, and soon they arrived at a grand hotel overlooking the River Thames. Lily's eyes widened as they stepped into the marble lobby where a towering Christmas tree twinkled with golden lights. "Mr. Atkinson really went all out," Rachel whispered in awe. The following evening, Lily slipped into a soft lilac dress gifted to her by the event organizers. Rachel, radiant in a navy blue gown, tucked a stray curl behind her daughter's ear. "You're beautiful," she said softly. Lily grinned. "Think Mr. Bean will recognize me?" Rachel chuckled. "I think he'll be the first to spot you." When they arrived at the gala, the atmosphere was electric. Celebrities, philanthropists, and artists filled the glittering ballroom. But no one shined brighter than Lily. Near the stage stood Rowan Atkinson, dressed in a sharp black tuxedo. The moment he saw Lily, his face lit up with that familiar, mischievous smile. "There she is, the real star of the show," he exclaimed, motioning them over. Lily giggled, curtsying playfully. "Hi, Mr. Bean." Rowan laughed, bowing in return. "I'm so glad you made it. Are you ready for another surprise?" Lily's eyes sparkled. "Another one?" He gestured toward the stage. "Come with me." Hand in hand, Rowan led Lily to the spotlight. The audience quieted as he began to speak. "Ladies and gentlemen, tonight is about hope embodied by a remarkable young artist." His voice softened. "Lily Morgan's strength and talent have touched us all. So, with her permission, I'd like to auction one very special painting, a piece she created just for this evening." A staff member revealed a canvas draped in velvet. With a flourish, Rowan pulled it away, revealing Lily's masterpiece, a breathtaking scene of a butterfly soaring over the London skyline, bathed in golden hues. Gasps of admiration rippled through the room. Lily's heart pounded as Rowan's voice rang out. "Bidding starts at $10,000. Within seconds, hands shot up. 15,000. 20. 50,000. Lily's jaw dropped as the bid skyrocketed. The room buzzed with energy, and when the final bid reached $150,000, the crowd erupted in applause. Rowan turned to Lily, his eyes shining. "You just changed the world again, young lady." Overwhelmed, Lily hugged him tightly. Thank you for believing in me. His voice softened. Always. As the night drew to a close, Rachel wiped happy tears from her cheeks. Her little girl, once so fragile, stood strong and radiant, a symbol of courage and hope. But as Lily drifted off to sleep that night in their London hotel, she had no idea that one final twist of fate awaited her, one that would change her future forever. The morning after the gala, soft London sunlight streamed through the hotel window. Lily stirred awake, still wrapped in the warmth of the previous night's magic. She turned to see her mother sitting by the window, sipping tea and gazing out over the Thames with a look of quiet wonder. Morning, Mom, Lily mumbled, stretching her arms. Rachel turned, her face glowing with a happiness Lily hadn't seen in months. Morning, sweetheart. How does it feel to be an international art sensation? Lily giggled. Kinda awesome. As they shared breakfast, there was a knock at the door. Rachel opened it to find Eleanor Blake, Rowan Atkinson's assistant, holding a sleek black envelope. Good morning, Lily, Eleanor said cheerfully. Mr. Atkinson asked me to deliver this to you personally. Lily's eyes widened as she took the envelope. Her fingers trembled slightly as she broke the seal and unfolded the thick cream-colored paper inside. Rachel leaned closer. What does it say? Lily began reading aloud. Dear Lily, your courage and creativity have inspired me and countless others. But more importantly, your strength reminds us all that kindness has the power to change lives. I know your journey hasn't been easy. So, as a small gesture to honor your spirit, I've arranged for something special. Enclosed is a full scholarship to the Kensington Art Academy in London should you choose to accept it. I believe the world needs to see more of your beautiful vision. With all my admiration and warmest wishes. Rowan Atkinson. Lily's breath caught in her throat. An art scholarship? Rachel gasped softly. Lily, this is a life-changing opportunity. Eleanor smiled warmly. If you'd like, Mr. Atkinson would love to meet you this afternoon to discuss it further. Tears brimmed in Lily's eyes as she clutched the letter to her chest. I'd love that, she whispered. Later that day, they arrived at a cozy cafe tucked along a quiet London street. Rowan was already there, seated at a corner table with his signature warm smile. Lily, he greeted, rising to hug her. I'm so glad you came. Lily beamed. Thank you for everything. I don't even know what to say. Rowan chuckled softly. No thanks needed. You've earned every bit of it. He grew serious for a moment. But I do want to ask, what do you dream about, Lily? If you could do anything in the world, what would it be? Lily's face lit up with excitement. I want to paint. And I want to help other kids like me. Kids who are sick but still have dreams. Rowan nodded thoughtfully. You know, he said, leaning forward, I believe you can do exactly that. He handed her a small, velvet box. One last gift, he said. Lily's fingers trembled as she opened it. Inside was a delicate, silver butterfly pendant. It's beautiful, she whispered. It's a symbol of transformation, Rowan explained. Just like how butterflies emerge stronger and more beautiful, you've transformed your pain into something extraordinary. Rachel, wiping away tears, reached across the table to squeeze Rowan's hand. You've changed our lives forever. I can't thank you enough. He smiled softly. The world needs more hope, and you two are a shining example of it. When Lily and Rachel returned to New York, life felt brighter, filled with hope and endless possibilities. The scholarship covered all her future education costs, ensuring she could pursue her dream of becoming an artist. Her story, once a small canvas on a street corner, spread far and wide. Donations poured in to support pediatric cancer research, and Lily became an advocate for other children fighting similar battles. And as for Rowan Atkinson, he remained a quiet guardian angel in the background. While the world knew him as Mr. Bean, to Lily and Rachel he would always be the man who turned an ordinary day into a miracle. Years later, standing in her own art studio, Lily hung the silver butterfly pendant above her work table. Every time she glanced at it, she remembered that even the smallest act of kindness could create ripples beyond imagination. And it all began with a little girl, a few paintings on canvas, and a man who stopped to believe in her.